We are in the picks and bans right now, and TSM immediately getting rid of Alistar. They do not want any of that roaming business. Galio being banned in response, and Morgana targeted there at Curse.
Yeah, it's definitely a smart ban, just for what we were saying. She's just a generally strong champion. The Galio, I love that Galio ban because for anyone, we all got to watch that fantastic Galio play from Reginald earlier today, and it's just astounding. Reginald can shut down, or Galio can shut down so many carries mid. He has that, fantastic sustain in lane. He's got that spam ability. And then to have that great team fight control, particularly if you combo him with a super AD carry like they have with Chaox and Kog'Maw, it's just a really strong matchup.
Ban for Olaf now also coming in. Do not want to see that going at top lane with Dyrus at all. And there's been a lot of stuff like specifically targeted towards the top lane, but Dyrus, very versatile player. We saw the Singed today. I would love to see the Singed again here, tournament play. I would love to see that. And Shen, last ban for TSM, also do not want to be dealing with that global ult, the taunt, everything that comes with that kit.
Yeah, and the big thing with Olaf, not only is Dyrus just such a fantastic Olaf player, but Olaf actually hard counters a number of top carries. When you're going to put those melee kind of bruisers top Olaf with his true damage, he can exchange extremely well, so kind of take that out of the picture. And then the Kog'Maw ban is definitely, kind of one of those expected bans when you have a fantastic AD player like Chaox, if you can support him with that overall team.
So TSM now thinking about what they're going to do for her first pick. Janna's nice, safe pick. Top support right now. We've seen her quite a bit today, but we're probably not going to stop seeing her at all through the rest of this weekend. And really, really showing why she's top support right now. Wonderful, wonderful kit with anyone right now in the bot lane.
Yeah, and I would probably expect Curse to maybe pick up their bot lane right now because they do have that 5th pick counter pick, so they can leave their top, leave their mid open. They could pick their jungler now if there's someone in particular that they're looking for. Nautilus, like you said, actually is a very aggressive jungler, but Udyr has that versatility. He can go in the top, he can go in the jungle, so they still have a lot of that flexibility with that 5th pick counter pick.
So Udyr, he's possible. We still got one more pick. We could be seeing a Nuno support. I think we may be seeing Nuno support down bot lane. But we still have options for Udyr. He could go top, he could go jungle. Kale will be thinking, whoa.
Wow. I can't even remember the last time I've seen Kale in competitive play.
Last time, I can remember last time I personally saw Kale, and that was my first week playing. I haven't seen her in a while.
The crowd's just sitting here like going crazy over this Kale pick. I mean, Kale, she was nerfed almost a year ago. It's so long ago to think back to it. And, back then, she used to be one of the strongest champions in the game. She could easily carry any game. She has that shield. It's just, it was a 6-second invulnerability. So having that ultimate coupled with all of your damage is just fantastic. Now it's, a real short ultimate. I think it's like 2 seconds, I'm pretty sure. And then, I don't know, she doesn't really have the same damage, the same lane control. It'll be interesting to see how they use her. She has a lot of damage in lane, at least.
Yes.
It comes when she gets out of lane, how well she does in team fights, because she doesn't have a lot of bursts. She's very short range, so she's not usually the strongest AD carry. However, if you couple her with like a suicidal kind of melee team, just these champions are going to be really strong to just get right up in your face, and then use Kale to counter out the enemy burst. There's a lot of flexibility with that, pickup.
So really, the goal here, it's almost like playing a Zillion a little bit. You want to do what you can to make sure that she's not reduced to just an ult. Her ult is fantastic. You just throw it in invulnerability. You can't beat that. But she has so many other good skills that she's very team fight centric, but we want to make sure that she's not focused down and she only becomes for her ultimate. So in the meantime, TSM, Udyr and Lee Sin, we could do a swap there. So we know one of them's going top, we know one of them's going jungle. They are interchangeable. And Gangplank and Mundo for Curse. I'm
kind of curious whether or not Kale is going to be going that bot lane, because I could definitely see that matchup with Kale and with Nunu. Kale has a really high damage output early in the game, so she can trade with AD carries very easily. But if TSM is actually going to run an aggressive carry like Urgot, then all of a sudden the balance switches back, and they don't have to worry about the fact that Kale could, maybe shut down characters like Tristana. Kale definitely has that damage output, but Urgot with the early shield, it'll be interesting to see. And Kayle and Nunu, they actually don't have a lot of burst damage. They have sustained damage. So if you have Kayle and Nunu versus Janna, they can't pop the shield as well as other burst lanes can. So, Urgot is going to be able to get that 80 benefit if Kayle is going bottom.
And we got Cassiopeia and Urgot for the last 2 picks for TSM. Cassiopeia, she is quite possibly one of the top AP mids in the game right now. She's not countered very easily. I mean, once she goes mid lane, she becomes quite unstoppable really quick. Fantastic ult, the poison, the DOTs, amazing all-around character. But we still have 1 pick left for Curse. Rise is open. Rise is open. We may see that.
Rise is definitely open. I don't know. They really have a lot of flexibility right now. Like you
were
saying,
there
Vygar,
it is.
So
there it is.
Vygar, I mean, it really is fantastic watching Nijaki play Vygar. And the big thing with Cassiopeia is Cassiopeia has all that fantastic AoE damage. They have Mundo, Nunu, Gangplank. Kayle is also short range. So they have a very short range team before they switch over to Vygar. If they were to run Rise, they would still have a very short range team. Cassiopeia does very well against those kind of close range teams. She provides great dragon control, which they already have with an aggressive jungler like Udyr. So the question is, how effective can Cassiopeia hold back Vygar? Because early in the game, Vygar definitely is one of the weaker laners. He has mana issues. You kind of have to make the decision, hey, do I want to farm or do I want to be exchanging damage? Whereas Cassiopeia, she outranges him early. She can sit there and just spam, dot. If she can hit him, she can get him low. But as the game progresses, Vygar has the range advantage because Cassiopeia, she is kind of short range as far as like her ultimate is concerned, as far as her large AoE is concerned. So once Vygar gets the mana where he can sit there, use his ultimate, he could maybe pick up some kills against Cassiopeia and then burst her down because she is that squishy caster, which is what Vygar does particularly well against.
So now I'm also looking at the summoner spells here. Kayle, Nunu, bottom, possibly?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's it is Kayle,
I don't
Nunu,
think
bottom.
I've ever seen that. I can't recall ever seeing that.
And I think the big thing that they were expecting is if TSM had run a more standard AD, if they had run someone like Tristana, one of those champions that Chaos really favors, then Kayle has that damage output to exchange very well because Janna doesn't have the heal. TSM threw him for the loop. They went with that Urgot, that really aggressive lane, so that works out very well. But as the game progresses, it's going to be interesting to see how this works because TSM has a very bursty team, whereas Kayle can prevent some of that burst, keep their tanks alive, and then all of a sudden Mundo becomes even more unkillable than he already is. Yeah. And then if Urgot is going to be trying for those aggressive swaps as the game progresses, Vygar is going to have very easy stuns set up. So Urgot trying to get a swap into his team, trying to pick someone off. Who is he going to pick off? There's no real, other than Vygar, there's no real valuable targets, and Vygar has the range advantage on Urgot. Can get that slow, get that burst down.
So I think these are it's a very tricky situation here with both of these teams. If you get the godlike Vygar Sun, it could be very well for Curse. If you can get TSM to get the wonderful switch with Urgot or a wonderful ult by Cassiopeia even, it can go either way. We have a lot of options with both of these teams. You know what? Kayle, man, I hope this works. I hope this works. But you know what? Spectator delay is just about to end. I think we're about ready to get into this one, man.
Yeah, and it's actually interesting. If you look at the summoners, Lee Sin and Gangplank, it is a pretty even matchup. Lee Sin, as the game progresses, has a little bit of an advantage with his shield, with his sustain. He has just fantastic sustain in the lane. But early in the game, Gangplank does have that spam ability with his parlay. He will have that advantage. And actually, like we said, Gangplank is a favorite of Curse to switch down to that bottom lane. So because they are on the purple side, we could see them hand off the blue because Mundo isn't a blue jungler. Mundo goes top for red, give Gangplank the blue buff, send him down in that bottom lane to lane against Urgot because he can sit there and exchange very well, use his parlay to farm. So that is always a potential. But then as the game progresses, we do see a lot of aggression from TSM and just a really incredibly tanky team from Curse. So it'll be interesting to watch.
So here we are. We're getting into it. Winners bracket, game 1. TSM versus Curse. Are you ready? TSM. We got the pillow right there. Camera front. So we are loading up now, and you know what? I'm still baffled by some of these picks, man. I still I just want to see how everything lays out. I'm extremely anxious just to see how effective Kale Nunu can be.
Yeah, I mean, they have the comboed slows. The movement speed allows them to engage. They do have that really strong, harass damage early in the game. It'll be really interesting to watch. At the same time, we've got, both summoners taking teleport for that top lane. We could see a lot of aggression through that, see some early control over the fights. It'll, definitely be something to watch out for.
So here we are on the blue side. Coming in, it is TSM. And up on the top right corner, purple side, red side, whatever you may be, we have Curse. So everyone's here. We got a little bit of a scatter here from Curse. Vigar and Mundo trying to get a little bit of a point defense going here. But looks like TSM's ready to invade very quickly. And
oh my God!
Right there, gets got. Trying to check the bush, has the flashlight. He is ignited. He's getting followed. Chaos, Reginald Darius, everyone is here. Will he fall? Barely getting away. What? Wow.
And it was
one hit point.
Poe
Belter said in chat, 1 HP. 1. Singular.
And there you go. TSM, they knew that Curse was actually going to try and run this strategy, run Gangplank, maybe going after that blue. So TSM, right off the bat, even though Mundo's not a blue jungler, going in for that early aggression, expecting him to be there. Curse just walking right into it, using those health pots to just barely get out, and he did have the cloth armor, so he will be going top lane. And the cloth armor, it is very strong against Lee Sin. That is the favorable matchup. So we'll have to see. But TSM still positioning themselves, seeing if they can invade this blue, take it early on.
So we have to see that quick engage. How many summoner spells were used on both teams? Pobilter flashed away. TSM, Reginald, Ignite and Flash, both down. Chaos, Flash, down. So it's extremely unfortunate that they did not get that kill. And they wasted a few summer spells in the process. It was almost in the bag. But you know what? They managed to force them out. They are going to be taking their blue. And it means TSM, actually, they're going to be taking both blues at the same time, enemy and friendly.
I'm curious who's going to get this, if it's Urgot or Cassiopeia, because it's actually going to be Cassiopeia. So there you go. Urgot, definitely could use that spam ability in lane, but they want Cassiopeia to just destroy Vigar, and that's really the big key to this game. How well Cassiopeia can just shut him down in the mid lane with that spam ability. Cassiopeia can be extremely aggressive, and already we see that damage from Cop with Kale going off onto Janna, and without that sustain, that's going to be an interesting matchup.
And we do have a quick pause. We just have a short, we have a small equipment issue, so while we get that resolved, we've got the game paused for a moment. But Vigar, man, I'm excited. It's like every time we see Curse pick Vigar, and we are never disappointed, ever. Vigar he's not many pros are use Vigar with much frequency. I mean, we do have Nightjack. What are some other pros that actually use him?
Big Fat is actually pretty well known for his Vigar. I was talking with him yesterday. He's definitely a favorite champion of his. Big Fat, known for that kind of fight control mid. He runs a lot of like TF, Anivia, Vigar, those really strong champions. And he definitely, Vigar is unusual because there was a time when Vigar was just too weak in lane. You couldn't play him. He didn't have enough control early in the game. But with the buffs that he received a couple of months ago, he's kind of progressively moved more and more into teams' repertoire, and they recognize how much fight control he brings later in the game. He's got great burst potential. All of TSM is, these short-range champions, Lee Sin, Udyr, Urgot short range, Cassiopeia. So Vigar, even though his team's short as well, he is going to have that stun. They're all going to line up for him, and he can just be like, there, I just stunned your entire team. I hit you with Dark Matter, and if he can, match up those early kills, that'll definitely, help them snowball pretty quickly.
Cassiopeia is also, like I said before, one of the big, powerful AP mids at the moment. And we did a little math crunching before we came here. Cassiopeia, very popular pick, a very popular ban over these past few weeks. But we're still feeling that. We're still on day one. We may see some more of her. What are some other champs we may expect to see later on in the weekend?
I mean, there's just so many. I think that's the big thing with League of Legends right now is I've been playing since beta, and if you look back at beta, I remember coming in and there, it was a great game, but there were a number of balance issues. And now coming forward, there's been so many changes to the game. It is look, as balanced as it's ever been. You can play so many different champions. I really would not be surprised at all by almost any picks that we're going to see this weekend. I expect we're going to see almost the entire set, so it'll definitely be exciting.
So we do see Kale at work bot lane, getting some range, putting some hurt down Onyx Special in the bot lane. Top lane, Gangplank, Lee Sin, Pobelter, Dyrus going at it. The creature, it's still early on in the game. We're only 3 minutes in, and Vigar actually Reginald has already decided to back. We got some wards for him. We got some mana potion. We got a mana potion for him, so he's looking to stay in a little bit in lane just a little bit longer.
Yeah, and he's kind of losing some of his blue buff that he could be using for that harass against Vigar. But at the same time, Cassiopeia is one of those champions who's naturally going to push the lane very aggressively. And he might actually choose to just naturally push the lane, and instead of trying to zone Vigar, just push him right in the tower to make it difficult for farming. But if Reginald is going to be pushing and is going to be that aggressive style that we've talked about, that is going to leave him extremely vulnerable for ganks, particularly if Nijaki is able to hit that stun and then get Mundo in range for the cleave. Reginald would definitely be very vulnerable. So that early ward allows him to protect against those Mundo ganks, allows him to be as aggressive as he wants in this lane.
So Reginald now back in mid lane, Nijaki doing can, and we have Odd One going around trying to see where he should be able to go. Elements in the bush, in the river, down bot lane, and Crumbs now taking the wraiths. X Special, Chaos, they're being pushed to tower just a tad, but Odd One, he's getting ready.
It's going to be a pretty tough gank, but Nijaki is actually moving a little bit forward. This is going to be Odd One's Q, so he is coming in. There's the stun, able to avoid that gank pretty easily.
But in the meantime, we got Crumbs moving up on top lane. Dyrus, he's in the bush. He's recalling, but Crumbs is deciding they don't know he's
Oh
there.
my gosh! And bot lane, Kale is actually just going to work on Chaox there. They threw off the ignite and the exhaust, but Chaox is okay now, and Kale's all out of mana. So we might see that lane moving to Urgot's advantage.
It's close. It's close. There's just huge chunks of damage going on both sides. It's just a matter of who's going to be able to get that first kill down bot lane. And I think we may have a little bit of a range advantage for Chaox on Urgot. If he goes ahead and he lands that axe, he just go ahead and home on in. But Pop, I mean, with that speed buff from Nunu, it could be the game changer. But
yeah, and we are seeing Odd One coming in here, stealing some of that jungle, really focusing on this mid lane, wants to see if Nijaki, comes out of position, or Mundo's coming in for the gank. So we'll probably see him squaring off there mostly.
The Udyr decided to back off a little bit, just go right back into the jungle, and still the Chaos and X Special push 2 towers. So we will see. We have a recall from Cop and Elements. See what they're going to buy. Doran's Blade. We got some boots. Looking to gear up a little bit more, get some of that extra health. Second Doran's Blade for Cop actually, and Crumbs wandering around a little while, but Reginald taking a huge chunk.
Yeah, I mean, that's the threat of Vigar. I mean, he's not even level 6 yet. He doesn't really have that spam ability where he can, continue pressuring that. So we'll have to see, what kind of an item build he's going for, but he definitely has that early burst damage. And we saw it right there. As he gets a couple more levels, as he gets level 6, there's always that threat that they're going to be able to pick up that quick kill on Reginald in that mid lane.
Odd One is definitely sticking around mid quite a bit, but we're not seeing a whole lot of return on the time investment. But we do see Elements wandering around, trying to see what he can do, and actually being followed by Reginald. He's going down, wandering down bot lane and pinging it towards the river bush. We may have an attempt on Cop and Elements here. Waiting for his moment, waiting to see if they're going to go ahead and push.
Oh, wow.
And Elements getting ulted right from the bush, and will fall. That is first blood.
There we go. That's the crowd I like hearing, rooting for TSM there, getting that, huge kill. But we'll see, what Curse is going to be doing. I know there's a huge number of Curse fans here as well, and that's one of the benefits of Cassiopeia. She can push very aggressively, and that allows her to, one, counter jungle, steal those wraiths very aggressively, build up that farm, but then also get those ganks bottom. And without the early ward coverage, they are very vulnerable to that.
Yeah, and Cassiopeia's ult can at times be tricky. If they're not facing towards you, you don't get them turned to stone. You only get a little bit of a slow. But fortunately, worked out for him. And Kappa trying to get away from Chaos. Will take a few chunks of damage trying to retreat the tower at half health already. Dyrus, Pobelter up top lane. And Lee Sin versus Gangplank. Who, in the long run, who wins this fight?
I mean, in the long run, Lee Sin just has too much sustain with his shield. He can start zoning Gangplank, and that's kind of what we're starting to see here. Pobelter will have that parlay, so he will be able to farm fairly easily, but there's just too much aggression from Dyrus, from Lee Sin, and he can just, heal it all up, shield up any damage, so he exchanges very well through this, early laning phase.
So Chaos Special still trying to do what they can bot lane. Elements getting some ice balls in there when he can. And Curse is being extremely aggressive now at this point in the game in bot lane. They're trying to do what they can in mid, and Dyrus is just pushing top like without a care in the world. Pobelter has no choice but to farm at tower while he's there.
And I think the big thing is who's going to below teleport first in this top lane, because Gangplank does have the ultimate, so he will provide that map control, and they both did get the teleport. Cassiopeia and Udyr, I expect that they're going to be going for Dragon shortly, so if he can force that teleport from Gangplank top, force him to use it to get back the lane, then all of a sudden TSM has a huge advantage for going for Dragon early in this game.
And Cassiopeia, once again, a fantastic AP mid, very effective at taking out Dragon very early. We got the poison, lots of damage in very short bursts. And we got the stun coming in from Reginald, taking a few towers, but we'll be able to get away. Odd One out front, working defense, stunning Crumbs, making sure he doesn't get any closer to the snake. We'll decide to back off.
And that's what Veigar brings to the table. Cassiopeia trying to be aggressive, trying to get that harass in, but just can't come close enough. But at the same time, Veigar is now out of mana, and that's one of his issues. But it is going to open up an opportunity for TSM to come in for this Dragon. And with Cassiopeia's damage, they should be able to take it. Veigar doesn't really have enough fight control right now. Cassiopeia actually waiting.
In the bush. We got the ult from Reginald going down. Jackie is being chunked out, stun going down. Will keep her in place, and Crumbs manages to get the kill. Dragon fight still going down. Pobelter trying to get away, has no choice but the flash, and Otto trying to keep him dead. Chaos, will he be able to get the distance? No.
Yeah, and so, fantastic job by Veigar. Nijaki able to pick up that kill onto Cassiopeia. And unfortunately, I'm a little bit surprised.
What? What? What?
All right, then.
Where did that happen?
I'm a little bit surprised that Reginald didn't just stick with his team. He was trying to get that aggressive burst damage. He wasn't able to get it in time. They did have the ward in the brush, so they were waiting for him. And if he had just stayed with his team, they would have had the free Dragon. They would have, had that free gold advantage, and then, see if they can pick up a kill from there.
I found Crumbs. He actually died at the wolf camp on their own side.
Is his body there?
No,
okay.
body disappeared. Oh no. Oh well.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Cassiopeia definitely has a lot of fight control. Veigar is a little bit more burst, but then he's very cooldown dependent. If you can control that blue buff from Veigar, then that really is going to hurt him a lot. He is going for a lot of mana regen early, and he already has that passive for that fantastic mana regen. But the lack of a large mana pool, rather than going for like a tier or a catalyst, it is going to hurt him if TSM can control the blue buff. So we'll see whether or not, as a team, they look to counter jump that. But actually, Chaos
coming in here on top. He's stuck in the river. He's trying to get away. He is exhausted, being chased by 3 members of TSM. The bear stance comes in. He's trying to edge away, but it may not be possible. Crumbs is here, but a little bit too late, and Cop does fall. But Crumbs is now in a corner. Stun going down from Nijaki to try and protect him, and he will be able to get away. But Cop getting caught out. Could not get away, and now Dragon will be going to TSM here.
Yeah, and that's really the aggression that Urgot brings early in this game. We saw earlier Urgot, with some very effective play, and I don't know, it really depends on how you can scale that into the game, but Urgot definitely can pick up those kills. There is Lee Sin teleporting up top, going to stop this push here, and going to have great control against Gangplank. We'll see whether or not he starts being a little more aggressive in that lane.
All right, so we're about we're 11, 12 minutes in. We were talking a little bit about this earlier. So far, how is the Kale pick working out for Curse? Is it too soon to tell, you think?
I mean, I'm kind of curious whether or not they wanted Kale to go bottom or top. Kale is definitely a strong pick top. The big thing is that TSM recognized the strengths of the Kale pick and was able to kind of counter that out a little bit. I think we won't see, Kale's strength until we start getting into team fights. You don't ever expect to just automatically win the game in the laning phase. It's you can expect a lane advantage, and I think that's what Curse was going for. They were going for a lane advantage with Kale, but I think a lot of it's going to come down to later in the game. She provides them, tankiness against that burst, that invulnerability.
So Nijaki has decided to buy his Deathfire Grasp. Very good core item on Veigar. Get a little bit extra damage on there. He does get extra AP from killing at minions with his abilities there. Get there, right there with the Q. Gets a little bit extra AP every single time he does it.
Yeah, and it just increases his burst potential, and that's the big thing. A lot of these competitive matches, you don't have a whole lot of kills, so Vigar scales very well, he snowballs very well as a champion. If you can guarantee those kills, which is what Deathfire's Grasp does, if you get the stun, you can almost guarantee those kills, and then you have a little bit more aggression.
Cop trying to get away from the aggression down at bot lane. Snowball is there to help cover his butt, and Odd One will be passing the blue buff, being a nice guy, passing the blue buff along to Reggie in mid. Should be able to help him out a little bit against Nijaki. And Ping's actually going down from Curse into the bottom river. Elements is making his way, and Ping's also going around towards mid. Odd One's there, and so we do have a ward going down by Dragon area just to cover their bases. But Reginald, Odd One now wandering down. Maybe not quite sure where they're going to be going. But Odd One's been spending a lot of time around mid. Lots of time.
Yeah, and that goes to TSM's kind of general strategy. Reginald is a very aggressive mid champion. You want to get him fed, get him those early kills, see what advantage you can take from that. KX and Xpecial, they're a very safe bottom lane. They kind of just control the lane by themselves. They don't usually go in for kills. When Urgot's ult is up like it is now, that's kind of when we expect some more aggression, some more kills. But they're generally extremely safe. They don't need those ganks. And then for the longest time, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it changes with Dyrus. But Rainman was a very passive top lane, and he was very safe in that top lane. He could just lane against anyone and usually keep himself pretty safe. And so, but they also knew they weren't going to get kills top. Middle is where they're going to get kills. Reginald's, kind of that superstar AP carry, and that's really where you want to stick around as the jungler if you can get yourself fed like that.
Dyrus continues to push like crazy in top lane. Nijaki was about to wander up there, but the little area over there by the Wraiths is warded. So they did see him walk up, Dyrus backed off, and Nijaki's like, you know what, they got this warded, they know. But Reginald trying to chase down Nijaki also a little bit in mid, and Crumbs looking where he may want to be, possibly top, possibly mid, but Reginald continues to push, Dyrus continues to push, and we're thinking the top tower is actually probably going to fall right now. Dyrus, he doesn't care about Pobelter. He's going to go ahead, smack it a few times if he needs a shield, and that tower will fall.
Yeah, and so, I mean, definitely fantastic play by Dyrus. We'll have to see whether or not that early map control can provide them an advantage. We already see that TSM has very aggressive ward coverage top, so Dyrus can still be very aggressive in this lane. He can push up to the second tower potentially, and actually we see a engaged mid. Nijaki just barely able to pick up the kill on Reginald, but the Ignite able to do it. So fantastic play by both of them there. Just real quick burst from both of those champions.
Ignite and Poison, that's a lot of damage over time. And it did finish the job. You got a nice little double haymaker in mid. It's always good to see. So nice little even exchange there. And Dyrus still, Dyrus doesn't care. He's just going to go ahead and keep pushing. No one's really going to be stopping him at this point. If anyone does try shield, he's got the mobility. He can get away easy.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a very safe champion, and now not only can he control that top lane, he can steal the jungle, and then he's also going to attract all of this attention to him. All of Curse is going to start watching Dyrus top. If he can pull them as a team up there, we'll see. He's actually stealing these wolves now, but Crumbs is going to walk into him, and he's just going to shield out of there. No big deal. He's perfectly safe in that top lane.
So now Cop has decided to travel up to top lane to see what kind of farm he can get. Now that Dyrus is focused his attention in the mid, Nijaki and Elements now going up to defend the mid tower. Stun, barely missing the Odd One, but he will walk away unscathed. And Chaos and Xpecial, they have a free lane. They can AFK farm if they really want to, but Chaos will decide to recall.
And actually, we're seeing now, Kale is going to be going in this top lane. Does provide a little bit more control against Lee Sin. He has that mobility, and because those early dragons aren't as much of a factor, they don't have to worry about the fact that Kale is going to be top, and they don't need that Gangplank teleport. So Gangplank is going to be coming down bottom, so he can continue with his farm. And we'll see what Elements is going to do. Whether we'll see Nunu roaming a little bit, doing some counter jungling. TSM, trying to ping off, see if they can get any aggression. I'm curious whether or not Odd One may pick up an early Oracles, because they do have decent map control at this point, and don't want to allow Curse to pick up any quick kills.
So TSM, we got 4 members in mid. They want this mid tower. They want it down. Xpecial now coming from behind. So all 5-man push in mid, and we may see Curse coming through their own jungle to try and defend this or get a counter or try and see if they can't dissuade them otherwise. But they've taken the tower. They've backed off. They got the gold they needed. They got what they wanted. But Dragon is up, and Curse is going for it. We got some counter warning going in from TSM, but Crumbs is actually in the mid from behind, so we may have a little bit of a pinch here on TSM if they decide to move forward on the Dragon, but Crumbs is actually moving around. That bush is warded. Belter up in front, taking the brunt of the damage. Getting a small heal from Cop just to top him off, and they will start on Dragon once again. But we got the swap coming in. Jackie's caught out of position. Kax is in the brush. Element's trying to get away. Will he be able to do it? No, he does fall. But now Kax is in a little bit of trouble. He is ignited. Will Cop be able to finish him off? Crumbs is there. He's got the shield, but the bear in the bush keeps them away. Crumbs, will you be able to get out? No, you will not. And Cop is now on the full retreat. TSM.
Fantastic play by TSM, and it all started. They, sent Lee Sin top, get a little bit of that farm, but he did have that teleport, and with that Urgot swap, they were able to get that swap. Mundo was kind of split from the rest of the team, so Curse wasn't completely ready for that fight originally. We saw that he was kind of on the other side, but able to get the Dragon, and then Lee Sin just coming up here, continuing with this aggression, able to take this red buff. So to couple with his Phage, going to be a Frozen Mallet shortly, that's going to be a lot of damage for Gangplank in that top lane. We'll see whether or not Dyrus can pick up this kill here when he comes back in the lane.
TSM is in a very good spot right now. They've taken 2 towers. Got Dragons. They're 6k in gold ahead. Well, are we going to see him go in on Belter? Maybe not. He's got the orange. He's got a little bit extra health, but we may not be able to get away. Dyrus is still plugging away at him, doing as much damage as he can. He's getting no help from his team.
It's about the slowest kill I've ever seen, but he does have the slow.
Can we get it? Can we get a kick? Can we get something? Yes!
And there it goes, just Dyrus with some dominant play so far. Lee Sin just taking control of that top lane, controlling the jungle. That last fight, was huge. Then coming up, stealing that red buff and using it to take down Gangplank there. So, definitely an early advantage for TSM in this game. Cassiopeia does have the fresh blue buff. Yeah, it's actually fairly fresh because she was able to pick up the Vigar kill. So, we'll see whether or not that continued aggression pays off for them. Lee Sin actually coming mid, seeing if he can pick off Vigar a little bit here. We'll see whether or not he can get in.
Jackie's not in the best of positions, but he does manage to make it back into the tower. Bot lane, Cop is just plugging away the tower. That will fall. So Curse has their first tower of the game now, and Element's deciding to back. Cop will retreat as well. And Reginald in mid, doing what he can, getting the shove in mid. And Jackie has no choice but to just hang around the tower a little bit, see what he can do.
And this is what I love about, what TSM's been doing as a team, and that you used to see a lot of pushing issues with TSM. They were always extremely aggressive with counter junglers. They were one of those first teams to really prioritize that kind of counter jungling play, but, we're starting to see aggressive pushing. They were able to get those first 2 towers, couple that with the Dragons. It gives them an early advantage. See, how you can control the fights. They, definitely both teams could probably use a little bit more ward coverage. There's not a whole lot because we're going to be setting up these fights. So I don't know if, maybe they're playing for the next Dragon particularly, but there's always the potential for a fast Baron from TSM when they have the damage from Cassiopeia. Udyr and Lee Sin could easily tank it just between the 2 of them.
Udyr looking to build into that Wit's End. We got all the poison damage from Cassiopeia. Lee Sin, I think we're looking for a Fatmas here pretty soon, but right now, Belter, he's up alone, top lane, Dyrus and Odd One laying in wait. We got the bear, he's moving on in. We got the stun, Gangplank ult goes down, he will be slow, but he gets kicked out of it. Dyrus and Odd One will not be there for the majority of that ult, but Belter now trying to get away. Deja Vu, just a tad, just a little bit, and he will fall, he won't even get to his tower.
So again, another kill for TSM, and they're up 8-3 right now, but we actually have Vigar walking right into Reginald's ultimate. There, he's going to go down really quickly. Reginald almost getting stunned, but able to pick up the quick kill. Great awareness there, picking him off in the brush, and TSM is going to take this top tower as a result, while Urgot is pushing in that bottom lane.
Urgot's doing what he can. Crumbs, he's not going to be able to do a whole lot. Second tier tower, top lane does go down, and Dyrus, like I said, he's just going to go ahead and push. No care in the world. And Elements trying to defend mid. Chaos doing what he can in bot, but like I said before, TSM, they're in a really, really good spot right now. 7k gold, up 2 towers still. And I think we should be seeing maybe something happen around Baron in the next few minutes. We do have a little bit of time on Dragon, should be up shortly, and we're just going to see TSM continuing to take the objectives they need.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have the burst potential to combo their team. It'll be interesting to see what Curse does once they group up, because we haven't really seen that huge team fight for Curse. Other than that one Dragon fight earlier, But really, that started off with a pick-off for TSM, and that's what TSM is looking to do. They have great fight control, but if they can pick someone off, pick off, Nijaki, if they can pick off Vigar, if they can pick off Kale, then very quickly they could just snowball through these team fights. And we'll probably see with this Oracle on Xpecial that they start baiting towards the Baron, get ward control over there, Xpecial, clearing those wards. They're actually coming up past the blue side to, see if they can get a gank in, but just going to back off for a second.
Clairvoyance going down just to make sure it's safe, getting the wards down that they need. It looks like they're going to be attempting a Dragon as soon as it pops. They're floating around that area, and you know what? Odd One's not too far away either. So as soon as that Dragon spawns, they're going to be all over that. And Dyrus just checking out Baron just to see if anyone's around. And we're just waiting here for the next objective.
Yeah, and it's actually interesting looking at the items. We see a Black Cleaver on Kale, and Kale is a champion. Her passive, it shreds armor and magic resist. It's going to give them great potential for focusing people down. So while Udyr is taking that mid turret, Curse is actually coming extremely aggressively on their mid. So Udyr is going to be able to get that bottom turret. We'll see whether or not TSM can engage. It's actually just starting to go down. So
they're not going to get there in time. The first tier tower, they can't do anything about it, so they have no choice but to defend tier 2. And Curse is continuing to push all 5 members. They're just going for it. But Keox is waiting here. We could see the swap if they get the initiation just right. Odd One now. He is a bear trying to see if he can get a stun somewhere. He needs is his flash up. It is. He could if he really wants to. Crumbs trying to retreat away. He is going to be the front man. He will be taking the brunt of the damage when these team fights do start out. Odd One coming in. Cleaver. He will be slowed. Triggering the bear. He's got the extra movement speed, but will not be able to catch up. But they have a ward down over by the enemy blue. They go to there. We got the swap. Keox is in. Crumbs is popping the ult. He's trying to get away. That health regen may not be doing it too much for him. They're chasing down the stuff from Nijaki. Gets 3 members of TSM. Crumbs will be able to get away. I'm not sure if Reginald uses the ult. Doesn't get anyone in. He's got a little bit of slow, but you know what? Curse is going to get away.
Yeah, and so there you go. Nijaki, the stun was down because Nijaki originally used it. Otherwise, maybe we would have seen a kill under like Cassiopeia. But the Kale ultimate, able to keep him alive. Vigar did use the stun originally to get him out. I'm just saying, as the fight progressed, maybe he could have picked up a kill. We saw his burst damage against Lee Sin. If he had maybe targeted Cassiopeia, coupled with Cassiopeia's ability power for Vigar's ultimate, maybe we see the kill pick up. But TSM, because they're able to zone them, is going to go very aggressively for this Dragon. Really they are going to get it. We'll see whether or not Nijaki can pick anyone off. He's actually not going to go in for it.
Tornado,
so, yeah, free Dragon for TSM.
We did see Reginald attempt to ult Curse. Didn't quite get what he wanted. He got the slow, but it's not going to be enough. He really wanted to get that stun to try and finish off the member Curse. But you know what? They managed to push him away far enough just so they can get Dragon without a problem. And they got their objective. They got what they wanted, and they're going to go ahead and fall back by a little bit, by something nice for themselves.
And the concern coming into this mid game, coming into these fights, Nijaki, Vigar does have that great burst damage. He can just insta-kill almost anyone if he's able to pick you off. He has that range advantage, but he's very cooldown dependent. And so if they have all these tanks, if they have that kill ultimate where they can stall the game, maybe Curse is able to pick up 1 kill and then just reset the fight and be like, okay, we'll start over in a second once Vigar's abilities are all off cooldown. But we are actually seeing TSM grouping towards Baron, and Reginald, in the meantime, he does have blue buff, but he's pretty low mana, so he needs to wait around for the regen a little bit. You definitely will get low from Baron, and that's not the best situation for a fight. So they are kind of just waiting in the brush, seeing if they can pick someone off for Curse.
Xpecial was in the Baron pit earlier, sweeping for wards. He did see that it is clean, so Curse has no wards in the area just at this moment. They do have both teams have oracles, so any wards they can manage to find if they actually make their way over there. But they do not know that the Baron is warded right out in front because Elements decided to go ahead and back.
Yeah, and so once again, I mean, TSM, I feel like they can pressure Baron, but they definitely don't want to be grouped up in that AoE. Vigar would be able to just stun the whole entrance and maybe pick up a quick fight win there, so that would definitely be dangerous for them. So they're really looking to pick someone off with Urgot, see if they can get a kill, then see what they can pressure. And Odd One, definitely not taking too much damage, so that's pretty nice to be tanky there. Dyrus just going to zone off Probelter a little bit, start farming this bottom lane. Both of them do have their teleport up, so they can get to those mid fights.
Dyrus meets Pobelter in bot lane. Pobelter says, oh no, we've played this game twice before. No, we're not playing that. We're not doing that anymore. But TSM now once again clearing wards around the Baron area. And KX does have a Guardian Angel right now, so once he gets the swap he needs, if he does manage to die in the middle of the next team fight, he will be coming back. So it's not going to be that much of an issue. But TSM, they want the vision around Baron. They know, they got an idea. Elements, he was poisoned, so he is falling back. But TSM trying to force the fight. We got vision on Elements. He is out in front. They're not going to press the matter. Stun going down from Nijaki just as a preventive measure. Ult going down from Gangplank on Baron, but no one's there. So TSM, they know that ult is now down, so they're going to go ahead and start it.
Yeah, I mean, they can keep very high health while they're doing Baron. They can do it pretty quickly, so, you know, Curse definitely needs to be a little more aware. Elements is very low right now, so it's not the best situation for Curse. They don't really have a full head-on engaged team like TSM does. The key is if they can pick off Reginald. Actually, we see the teleport in from Gangplank, but Lee Sin in the meantime is coming in as well. There's the ultimate swapping with Nijaki. Reginald very close to going down, but the ultimate from Janna able to keep him alive. And now TSM is definitely winning this fight. They're going to be able to pick up the kill on Reginald, but now TSM is in a good position. We do have the GA onto Chaos. He will be able to get the slow, and there's 2 kills, and now they're going to be able to pick up the Baron. So TSM taking a commanding lead in this game.
1 for 4. That's pretty good math. Any way you cut it, and Cop is the only one remaining, and not even going to attempt to try and steal this Baron. TSM is going to take it convincingly. They'll take it back home with them. Reginald will not have it, but you know what? There's such a huge lead right now. I don't think it even really matters. They're going to go ahead and grab this buff, go back and shop, and just probably push right up the mid at their next opportunity.
And now the big concern for TSM, because they do have that short-range team, normally they wouldn't have a very good pushing team, but because they are so far ahead right now, because they do have Udyr and Lee Sin so tanky, they can just walk right up and tank these towers. And here we see Udyr, Dyrus doing it. He knows that he can just walk up, not have to worry about the tower damage. So the fact that they don't have the range doesn't really matter. We see Nijaki hardly doing any damage at all to the odd one. So TSM gets to be extremely aggressive. They're going to be able to steal this blue buff. And Nijaki pretty good for cooldown reduction, so you know he should be okay. But it's still going to be nice for Chaos to be able to have that spam ability when they're sitting outside of a tower.
Chaos going ahead, picking up the enemy blue buff for himself. That's going to help him out immensely over these next few moments where they still have Baron. Everyone's going back. They're going to go ahead and shop. Frozen Heart on Urgot, Randuin's on Udyr. We got a lot of stuff coming in for TSM. They've got some pretty hefty wallets right now, so he's going to go ahead and spend. Lee Sin actually has, Dyrus has 3K that he needs to spend still. I wonder what he's going to pick up. Probably going to finish up the Frozen Mallet. Frozen Mallet, Warmogs, Atmas. It's a pretty good combo. It's an okay combo.
And now there it shows the weakness of Curse's team. They don't have that great late game sustain damage. That's the big thing with Kayle. She's not a Kog'Maw. She's not a Tristana. She isn't going to have that burst damage to take down all these high HP heroes. So because TSM has these uber tanks right now, Curse just doesn't have enough damage to deal with them. So Udyr and Lee Sin, they get to be extremely aggressive. They can just push right down these towers, and Curse just doesn't have enough damage to deal with those tanks.
Curse has no choice but to defend for these next few moments. Baron buff, how far along are we? We're just about exactly halfway through at this point. So we gotta see what TSM decides to do with the buff. They're taking a lot of objectives. They're getting their own buffs and the enemy buffs. But we gotta see them pushing up the mid. Chaos is here leading the charge. As I think, does he have an elixir or two on him? I think he does. Yes, he do. Red elixir. Red mushroom. Red mushroom dispatch at least. But they will decide to push Pobelter's out in front. They're trying to clear the mini wave as fast as they can. And I think we see Udyr here just taking Dragon for himself, no big deal.
But again, it will be interesting to see whether TSM feels aggressive enough, if they feel like they have a big enough advantage that they can just walk up and tank the turrets, because it's close. I mean, you definitely don't want to allow Curse to win a fight very quickly. It could go back in their favor, but they don't really have a strong poking team that can just wear down the tower. They don't have those kind of ranged DPSers like you normally see. So that's really going to hurt them here. They kind of need to just go all in for it when they make the decision to decide to push, or if Lee Sin's going to split push, because they're definitely strong enough right now that they could send someone out split pushing even without the teleport. They could almost win a 4v5 fight against Curse at this point.
I just noticed too, Dyrus now has a Guardian Angel of his own. He's got 4,000 health already. If you do manage to somehow kill him, he's still going to be coming back. He has the lifesteal for some of his abilities. He's going to be an immovable object. He hasn't even died yet.
Yeah, and that's going to be a serious concern for Curse once again, because they don't have that kind of damage out. But if they can pick off one of these champions, though, if they can pick off Reginald, that's really, their only target. Janna would be a strong pickoff for him, but the concern is if they get rid of Janna, they don't really get rid of any of TSM's damage. And actually, we probably, I was wondering if we're going to see an ultimate there, but some great harass damage going on from Chaos there, wearing down Nijaki a little bit, and they're definitely preparing themselves for that great fight coming up shortly.
Reggie has a quick silver sash for himself, just in case he gets caught by that Vigar stun, but he hasn't used it already. And with all these GAs, all this tankiness on TSM right now, pretty much their only two targets for an amazing engage are Reggie and Xpecial. And you know what? The rest of TSM, they're playing, it's like a big football team. You got the big guys up front, and the Curse just cannot break that front line. They cannot get to that creamy nougat center that is TSM.
Yeah, I mean, they're already so tanky, and then they have this full shield team, Udyr, Lee Sin, Urgot, Janna. It's really tough to break through it. I'm, kind of curious whether or not we'll see them just jump on the turret. The Baron is down, so they will be susceptible to, that damage a little bit more. They won't regen it back, and so Curse actually just, pushing down, get all the lanes pushed so that there's not the threat of TSM taking control of your jungle. They know that they need to make something happen, so they're trying to see if they can pick anyone off, get some kills, get back into this game.
Yeah, Curse was about to head the top lane. I was like, oh wait, Dyrus is there. Okay, change our mind. Let's go to mid. We don't want to be messing with that very tanky blind monk. But they're a little bit scattered now. They're a little bit indecisive where they want to go. They're all hovering around the exact middle of the map, and they're being a little bit caught out. Dyrus is here. Will we get? No, they will not decide to press the matter. But Odd One, Chaos going around through the jungle. If Curse decides to stick around, it could be really bad for them. If we get the swap from Chaos, it could be game. It could be.
Yeah, and even if they don't, Baron is going to be up in about a minute, so TSM, they can pressure that Baron. They know that in an open field fight, they're easily going to take care of Curse. So if they can, force Curse over there, TSM really won't take too much damage from Baron. They don't have to worry about getting low just because of all their shields. So they can sit there, bait out a fight in the open, and then, maybe end the game quickly, take that Baron for an inhibitor, maybe even just straight up the Nexus.
Yep, Ottawa and Chaos were staying in the jungle. They were waiting to see if they could bait them out with Reginald. Didn't work. Curse is like, no, we're not playing that game. They decided to back off, and so we were like, we're just going to go ahead and push bottom. We're going to try and see if we can't take this inhibitor in tower. And they're going to go ahead, wait for the minion wave, and push once again. Crumbs, Nijaki Elements here to defend. Top, just shot the guns on the wolves with Elixir. And TSM, they have the waves. They're going to see if they can't push this. Chaos out in front. And they've got the stun coming in from Nijaki. Not going to do a whole lot with it. But I'm looking for that swap. Can we get that swap from Chaos onto someone juicy? Now they're going to go ahead and decide to wander back towards mid. See if they can't bait somebody out. Chaos out in front, trying to get away. Caught him off guard. Gangplank ult going down, trying to slow move, not taking advantage of Chaos. Flashes in, gets the ult on Nijaki, flashes away. Dyrus now coming in. Ult still going down. We got the stuns. Chaos will be reviving. Belter does fall, and now Crumbs is behind. Elvin's behind. Top Luki is ready to get away. Nijaki falls. Dyrus making work of everyone. Crumbs falls as well. They should be able to take this tower and hit top. Can't really do too much about this. I think this might just be game.
Yeah, this probably is game. They are at least going to get an inhibitor. They probably can push down this Nexus, but there it is. TSM, they know in the open field they can get that Urgot swap. They're just way too tanky. We saw a couple of GAs proc, but Curse just not able to do it, so they're actually not going to go for the Nexus. They had 30 seconds left. They probably could have done it. It's very close to say whether or not Kale could have defended against them, but getting 2 inhibitors is definitely going to allow them to solidify that game, and then they still have the Baron. If they were going to want to get back quickly so that Curse can't counter, but they will have that Baron to force another open field fight, or even just take the Baron and then just end the game.
They could have made the attempt on Nexus, but you know what? They're playing it safe. It's like, you know what? We're at IPL4. There's a lot of money on the line. We want to play it safe. We'll take these 2 inhibitors. We'll grab Baron. We'll come back around when we're all healed and try it again, because they're ridiculously in the lead. There's no reason to risk anything at this point, especially in a venue like this, in a tournament like this, with all these big name teams.
Yeah, and so we are actually seeing Curse group up. They probably could have been a little bit faster about heading over to that Baron. They're not going to have enough time to take it. TSM's definitely going to be in range in time. Curse actually doesn't even know if they had recalled yet, because they didn't have that vision. They were all pretty low, but Curse needs to get back in their base and keep these waves pushed, so they just don't have the opportunity to come defend against this Baron. They will back off for a second. We'll see whether or not TSM goes for it. They probably will, and then just continuing with that push into the Nexus.
Curse only has one ward down at the moment right there. Their vision is immensely stifled at the moment, and TSM is there in the Baron pit, taking it down, should be down shortly. Curse has an idea. They don't exactly have all the things they want, but they have Angelic Fronts out in front. Pops the ult, trying to see if they can hear. Darius is there to do the damage. He needs to elements with the ult in the bush. Odd one, punch him in the face, get rid of it, and now Darius is there, and Jackie being swapped with Chaos. He is in the thick of things. He will fall. Mundo falls. Elements is in back. He goes down as well, and Belter caught out by the bear. He will die shortly as well. And now we have Pop once again alone on his own. Not much to do there. TSM has pretty much got this one in the bag at this point.
Yeah, TSM taking game number 1. GG TSM. They will be pushing down the Nexus here, so congratulations for that game number 1. But we'll have to see what Curse is going to be bringing in this next matchup. TSM just absolutely dominant that game. They, had it secured almost the entire game. Vigar, never really got a chance to get any kills. TSM being pretty safe there. We saw, Reginald getting caught one time, but TSM taking game number 1.
TSM taking game number 1. Extremely convincingly. Good job for them. But you know what? See, this is very... Oh, look at that. See, that's what happens. That's what happens when Darius goes on Lee Sin. That is exactly what happens. People die.